Hello everyone, thanks for joining this section of the course. Here, so far what we have covered, we have created VPC, right? We have created this VPC. This is the VPC that we have created. The name of the VPC is mylab_VPC, and the CIDR range that we have chosen is this 10.0.0.0/16. Under this VPC, we have created one public subnet and two private subnet. We have created one public route table where we have the default route that is connecting to IGW. And we also created an IGW and attached to the VPC. This is what all we have done last section, right? If somebody has not watched the last section, please go ahead and watch it because there we have discussed about in detail. Okay, I've discussed about route tables and all those things written. Now, what is this? What we are going to cover in this section? So in this section, we are going to cover how traffic flows. Okay, we'll take example one by one. Okay, so most people, example one by one means what? I mean, we will take an example of how traffic flow in the public subnet first, and then we'll discuss about the private subnet as well. Okay, so let's start with the public subnet. Let me start with a statement like most people, when they can launch instance in EC2, okay, in AWS, they know how to launch an instance and all, right? How to connect to the instance, those things are okay. But when I interview people and I will ask like, can you explain me how traffic flows, how you reaches to EC2 instance? Let's say, what I'm trying to tell you, let's say you are here, you have your laptop, right? You have your laptop. Okay, this is your laptop. You are sitting at your home, right? Maybe a home, office, or whatever. Let's say right now I'm sitting at my home. So I'm sitting at my home and EC2 instance is running somewhere on AWS, right? If I say this is an EC2 instance, okay, let's say this is an EC2 instance. Okay, this is running somewhere in AWS, some VPC, some subnet, right? This in some region, and that is what we are connecting right now via internet. Okay, is the internet is the only way to connect to AWS? There are few other ways, and we will discuss and explore this in much more detail when we'll discuss the concept of VPC, direct connect, and the networking section. Okay, the dive of networking section where we will discuss other option as well. But as of now, for us, from my laptop I am connecting to internet, and from internet I am connecting to EC2 instance, right? I may be using some client software, something like putty, whatever you want to say. There are few other things, but you are using putty to connect over SSH. This everybody knows, most of us we know. But how traffic reaches here in the network packet, how this network packet reaches here to EC2 and you get a response back from EC2. This is what we are going to explore, and this is what I am going to explain you. All right. So this is what the context. Now let's go ahead and directly jump to the lab part. I will go to my AWS console. Let me log in there. I think my session is already there. Yes, it's there. So this is what we have done. So now next thing is what? Let's create an EC2 instance in our public subnet. What is our name of the public subnet? my_public_1. The subnet ID is ending with 793. Just remember it because we may need this kind of information. And this is my lab VPC. All right. So let's go to AWS EC2. This is my EC2 console. Just click on running instances. You can see I have filter with running, so there is no running instances. If you even if you close it, there is no instance at all. It says there is no instance right now. I have no instance running in my Mumbai region right now. Perfect. So how to launch an instance? It's very simple. Click here, launch instance. So you have to be at EC2 console. From EC2 console, you just click here, launch. Excuse me, launch instance. Perfect. Let me click here. When you launch an instance, like it's I have discussed these things in much more detail in my EC2 session, but here I'm hoping that you are knowing how to launch an EC2 instance. If you don't know and you have not attended any of my session, then it is perfectly fine. You can just comment it. please create a video how to launch an EC2 instance. I will create much detailed video so that I will talk about all these section, all these portion in much more detail. So, but here we will just cover it quickly. So we need to give some name of the instance. I'll say my underscore web underscore server. Okay. I'm using Amazon Linux as an AMI, whatever you want to say. I'm saying T3 micro instance as my instance type. That is perfectly fine for me because I'm not going to run any production grade application. It is going to be 2 vCPU or 1 GB of RAM. It's perfect. I may run a small website. Okay, so for that it's okay. And then key pair, I have already a key pair created. I'll say let's use this particular key pair. In this section, this is important. In this section, this is networking section where you want to launch your instance. This is what this section is. If you are not editing this particular section, by default VPC will come. That we don't want. So what we need to do, we need to edit this particular section and click on edit. VPC, you need to select your lab VPC, the VPC that we have created. All right. Okay. Subnet, just select drop down and select the public subnet because we want to launch an instance in public subnet. Auto assign IP address is true. It says firewall security group. What is this security group? Don't worry. We will talk about in detail. Okay. What is security group? What is inbound rule? What is outbound rule? What is ingress, egress traffic? Everything I will explain in few minutes. Okay. But right now I am just creating a security group that is basically kind of a security group that is here. So I'll say select security group or let's say create a security group. Okay. So I'll say my underscore web underscore SG, the name of the security group, and the same thing I'll give as a description as well. Okay. And this is done. So this is okay. I'll say SSH, it says fine. I will explain all those things in a minute. Excuse me. Configure storage. The next part is configure storage. Whenever you're launching EC2 for lab purpose and all, please use magnetic standard because this is the cheapest hard disk available in AWS. Okay. And even if you want to increase the size like 20 GB, 50 GB, it's hardly cost you 100 or 200 rupees per month, not more than that. Okay, so don't use GP3, GP2, IO1, IO2 because those are the very costly hard disk. I mean, what I'm trying to tell you, in your production application for your customer, you can use it. You need to use out of these options because where there you need a performance, but for your own purpose, for lab or test purpose, for learning purpose, unnecessary, don't use this disk because these are little costly. Okay, so magnetic is anyway, we don't need performance for our test application, so ignore it and select just magnetic. Okay, click launch instance. So it will take a minute or two and the instance will get launched. So what we have done till the instance is launching, let me show you with the help of diagram. Let me go to my whiteboard. So I will just draw this diagram one more time. So we have a VPC. I'll just draw the public subnet so that diagram should be clear. We have created a public subnet here, right? This is the public subnet that we have created. Inside this subnet, we have created a VPC. Okay, EC2 instance. So this is my VPC, right? This is VPC. This is subnet. Which subnet? I will say public subnet, right? This is public subnet. Inside this subnet, we have created an EC2 instance. We have an IGW that is already attached, right? We have an IGW that is already attached here. Now I am sitting here. This is my laptop. I want to connect to this particular EC2 instance, right? And EC2 instance must have a public IP address because we want to directly connect to EC2 instance. So what is happening here? Let me go to AWS console and go to instance. I think my instance is up and running. Yes, this instance is up and running. Status check is still initializing, so you may have to wait for a minute or two. Status check is still initializing. Let it be 2 by 2 complete. All right. So meanwhile, what we will do, we will copy the IP address, the public IP address. This is the public IP address. What is the IP address? 13.201. Something something, right? 13.201.97.133. All right. So I will open my putty. Let me open putty here. Where is my putty? Where is my putty? Just give me a second. So let me open my putty session. For putty, I have already saved the session details. So what I will do, I will load this one and I'll change the IP address. The SSH key that is already mentioned here, and let me first open it and I will show you how I have set it up. So EC2-user is a default user for Amazon Linux. So I can see I got authenticated and I logged in. Now the question comes, what happens in between? How we set up a putty and all. As I mentioned, if you don't know, please comment it. I will create a video on this, no problem. But I will just give you a document also, that also you can follow. This is like, connect your Linux instance using putty. This is what AWS documentation, docs.aws.amazon.com. Okay, they have given a very nice document. Okay, how to connect all these things step by step, how to connect, how to set your keys and all. This is nice. This is document you can follow. Okay, there are multiple options. This link also I will share in the description. Okay, so you can follow it, and if you are getting stuck, please do let me know. I will help you, and if required, I'll create a video also. All right, so being said that, we are connected to EC2 instance, right? So let me change the prompt. I will say this one is my_web_server. All right, so yeah, this is my web server. Now what is happening here is, I am here, I am at my home. This is my location. I am using putty here. I am using putty here at my laptop. I am connecting to IGW. The traffic is going to internet. When I am giving the IP address of that instance, what is the IP address? The public IP address. Let me copy this IP address. The IP address of the machine is 13 dot something something. Let me copy this IP address at the somewhere at the notepad, or let me copy it at the browser. Where is my browser? Yep. Just I'll save it here. This is my IP address. So what is happening here, when I'm going and typing this IP address here, public IP address, I am getting the console of my EC2 instance. Console means I am getting this prompt of my EC2 instance, right? I'm getting this. This is my EC2 instance. Okay, this is EC2. Okay, this is EC2. I'm connecting to EC2 right now. All right, that is fine. But how the traffic, how I reach here? So actually what is happening here is, the moment I give the IP address, okay, the moment I give the IP address, the network packet basically travels to internet. It reaches to IGW. From IGW, we have created a public route table. Remember, we have created a route table, public route table. Okay, let me correct the spelling, public route table. And this route table has this route, right? 0.0.0 IGW, right? So what is happening here is, basically when I'm reaching here, the same traffic reaches here, and this route we have already created. This path we have already created. So I can say that I have created this path. The route table is basically this connectivity we have created. Connectivity is already there. Okay, with the help of route table. So your network packet reaches to, following this particular route, it reaches to EC2 instance. But there are two things happening in between. Can I remove this route table? Can I put it here? Yeah, let me put it here. So what happens at your EC2 instance, there is one firewall that we call security group, SG as the short form, that is attached to the EC2 instance like this. Okay, your security group is attached to like this. And there is one more thing, another type of firewall that is called NACLs. network access control list, NACL, that is attached at the subnet level. All right, that is attached at the subnet. So this route is fine. This route is creating the path, like, let me put an arrow here. This path is there. Okay, this is your route table. So how the traffic reaches? First, the moment you give SSH, it goes to IGW. From IGW, it goes to NACLs. Where the traffic is, if the traffic is allowed, it will go to the security group. Then it reaches to EC2 instance. What is the step? From internet goes to IGW, from IGW to NACLs, NACL to security group to EC2 instance. This is how the path of the traffic. Okay, then you may say, okay, fine, but we have not created anything with the NACL. How security group we have created, but what about NACLs? I will come and explain everything about NACLs and security group. First, let me explain you the security group. Let's go to AWS console. Okay. Here, if you go to security section of your AWS EC2 instance, the security section. Okay, click here, security. You will see that this is a security group that is attached to this particular instance, right? This is my_web_sg that we have created, right? Just click here. You will see that there is something known as inbound rule, outbound rule, all those things. What is inbound rule? What is outbound rule? Inbound rule is like any traffic that is coming towards you is an inbound rule. What do you mean by that? Actually, when we are connecting to an EC2 instance, okay, let me go to my whiteboard. When we are connecting to an EC2 instance like this is an inbound request to EC2. Any traffic that is coming towards EC2, it's an inbound request. Any traffic that EC2 is generating outside, that is an outbound traffic. You can just, in a simple analogy, this is your flat. Any guest is coming to meet you, they are generating inbound traffic to you. When you are going outside to meet somebody else, that is an outbound traffic with respect to this, your door. Okay, the door. Anybody coming inside your door, they are generating inbound traffic. You are going outside, you are generating outbound traffic. Inbound sometimes also we call ingress. Outbound we sometimes also we call egress. Both the things are same. Okay. So in security group, we no need to change anything at outbound rule. That is by default allowed. That is why we call them as a stateless firewall. Okay. So we don't change anything at the outbound rule, outbound rules at the security group. We create inbound rules. How to create inbound rules? This is edit rule. Okay. Now let me go to my EC2 instance and create something, launch something. Let me go to my EC2 instance because I need to explain you. Just give me one more minute, everything will become crystal clear. So here I am right now. I'll do sudo yum-y update. I'm just updating it. Let's wait for a minute. And I'm going to install a simple website. I'll install HTTPD Apache here and a simple website I'll create. If you want to see how to install it, there is a document also I have opened. Install web server on your EC2 instance. This document link I will share with you. You can say they are saying first you need to update it. Then this is the software that you need to install, HTTPD. Okay. This document is basically for the LAMP installation. Okay. Apache, Linux, Apache, PHP, and everything. So the LAMP installation, but you can follow this document for just installation of HTTPD. So it says everything is okay. So what I'll do, I'll run the same command sudo yum-y install HTTPD. It is installing Apache, a web server. Okay. Installation is done. What is the next thing when you install the software? You need to start the services. You'll say systemctl start HTTPD. Oh, I need to do sudo because I don't have the default permission. Systemctl, and you can also enable it, though it's not required for this lab, but it's okay. Now what we'll do, we'll go to cd/var/www HTML. Okay. Now if I do ls here, the file is, there's nothing, no index.html. So I'll create a default web page. I'll say echo, we'll say we are learning AWS, and I will redirect this to index.html. All right, so it's okay. Oh, again, I didn't have the permission, so I will say sudo. What happened? Sudo index.html, where I am right now. Let me see. Where www.html. Okay, let me do sudo su, and I'm not sure even after sudo why I'm not getting the permission. That I can fix it later, but right now let me create a file. File is there. Yes, the file is there. Let me see the permission. 644, I think it's okay, or let me make it chmod 755 to this. These things are not needed, but I'm not sure why I got this error, but though I use sudo. But the point is we have created a website. Okay, now if I want to access my website, okay, if I want to access my website, I need to go to server here, and I need to give the IP address. If I say refresh, right, I mean if I go to my AWS console one more time, copy this IP address, let it be loaded, select your instance, copy the public IP address. Now if I go to here at browser and type your IP address, so you will see that this page will try and it will die in some time. Okay, it will say connection timed out, something like that. You will get an error. Why we are getting this error? Actually, now let me go to the security group and explain you. If you see this security group here, this is your inbound rule, right? This is your inbound, and we have only one inbound rule, that is for SSH only, and that is open for everyone right now. And the by default Apache or any web server works on the port number 80 HTTP connection, right? So port number 80. So what we need to do is we need to allow this traffic. So how can we do this? Click on edit rule, edit inbound rule here. Okay, add one more rule. Which protocol, which type of traffic? HTTP, select HTTP from here. Okay, and port, you can say port number automatically gets selected because HTTP default port is 80. And then you can put a CIDR in 000/0. Right now, can we put CIDR 0 everywhere? No, it's not a good, it's not a security wise recommended, but for our lab, I'm putting it because anyway, I'm going to delete everything after this lab. Okay, so what should be this CIDR in? That also we need to verify with our network team. If any dedicated network, then we need to put that CIDR range, or any dedicated IP. You can use your public IP. That is little secure way. Just do safe changes. Okay, so security group has port number 80 now allowed. Now if I go back to this browser again, and you can say it was earlier broken. Let me refresh the page. Can you see that I got my web page? We are learning AWS. I think there is something I made mistake, but whatever we have mentioned in our index.html, we are able to see it. So our website is working. How the traffic flows, let me explain one more time. What happens here when we type from Firefox the IP address? Okay, we're given the IP address and press enter. The network traffic started from here, goes to IGW, goes to NACL. NACL I'll explain in a minute, but right now just imagine NACL is allowing everything. First time when it reaches to security group, because the inbound traffic 80 was blocked, we have not opened. So traffic blocked here and we got the connection timed out. Then what we did, we made an inbound entry for IP address 80 for port number 80. This time traffic reaches and revert back. Outbound traffic we got it, and we got our website like this. Is it making sense? So how the traffic reaches? From your EC2, it goes to IGW. From IGW, it goes to NACLs. From NACLs, it goes to SG. From SG, it goes to security group. This is inbound request. This is inbound. You are connecting to EC2, you are making inbound request. Then EC2 responded back, and your traffic comes here and you got the website. This is how security group works. So security group is a firewall. That is basically where we create the inbound rule. Okay, and we have only authority to allow the traffic. What do you mean by allow the traffic? Can we deny the traffic also? Yes, we can deny the traffic also, but for that we need to see the other type of firewall, that is NACL. First, let me talk something about the security group. Till here I think it is making sense. Okay, whatever I have told you, this is making sense, and this is basically we have covered, right? I mean, the traffic basically flows something like this: laptop, internet, IGW, route table, subnet, security layer, EC2. Security layer, there are two things. Security layer, there are two things. First one is NACLs, I will talk in a minute. NACL, Network Access Control List. Second is security group. What is security group? Security group is basically is something like, is a firewall at instance level. First of all, is a firewall only. Security group is a firewall, but security group firewall is basically work at the instance level only. Works at the instance level. It will attach on top of the instance. Okay, the way I have shown you, it is something like this. Okay, but I just put an arrow so that diagram should be clear. Okay, it works at the instance level. That is what you need to remember. Okay, it controls the traffic it controls the traffic which is allowed to reach to EC2 instances. If you want to allow anything to EC2 instances, that traffic you can control. Remember, we have opened right now port number 22 for SSH and port number 80 for your port number 80 for your HTTP connection. We are just allowing two type of traffic, SSH and HTTP. Port number 22, port number 80. That is what I'm trying to tell in this particular line, that it allows the traffic that allow to reach to EC2 instances. All right. Now we are going to work. Next firewall is NACLs. NACL basically is another firewall where we have works at the subnet level. Network ACL, access control list. It is network access control list. This works at the subnet level. Okay, subnet level means what? It will be sitting on top of the subnet. It will be sitting on top of the subnet, like public subnet. NACL will sit here at the subnet level, at the subnet level, at the subnet level, all the subnet level. NACL will sit here. Okay, so this is what the meaning of NACL sit at the subnet level, works at the subnet level. It is basically an additional layer of security before traffic reaches to your EC2 instance. One more layer of security. It is something like, the society, we have a main guard that is sitting at the gate of our society. If that guy is not allowing anybody, nobody can reach out to your flat. Let's say there is an Amazon delivery that is coming to your home. That Amazon delivery is generating what type of traffic? Inbound traffic. There is a main guard that is sitting at the main gate of the security, and there is another guard that is sitting at the lift lobby, right? That's it. Lift lobby wala is like something sitting just in front of your flat. That is security group. Main guard that is overall securing whole apartment, that is NACL. Kind of analogy. If you find it interesting, that is fine. Otherwise, just ignore it. Okay, so let me put like this. Yeah. Okay, so it acts as a security group and reaches to the instance level. Now, what is difference? Security group, instance level. First difference is they work at the different level. This work at security group work at the instance level, NACL work at the subnet level. Perfectly fine. Second difference is security group we call stateful. Security group, I think initially I mentioned stateless. That was wrong. So quick. Security group is stateful, okay, and NACLs are stateless. NACLs are stateless. Okay, what do you mean by stateful and stateless? It's very simple. Any device that is stateful, where we don't bother about the outgoing traffic. Okay, outbound traffic we don't create anything specific for a stateful device. Outbound is automatically handled. Stateless device, where we need to create an outbound rule. Specifically, we need to create an outbound rule. That is what the difference is. Okay, outbound rule we have to remember. I told you that NACLs is basically I mean, security group, we don't bother about outbound rule, right? There is an outbound rule, but everything outbound rule is here. Can you see this outbound rule is here, but everything is by default allow. Now let me show you the NACL also. If I go to NACL, network access control list in security group here, NACLs. So this is the default NACL that is created. Okay, I can say this is the default one that is get created once you create the VPC and all. It will get created. Okay, for the default NACL, this is, you can see, this is the default. This is maybe your say, your question maybe also in your certification exam. The default NACL that is created along with the VPC and subnet, the inbound rule and outbound rule, everything is allowed. What do you mean by that? If you click on inbound rule, you will see that all traffic, all protocol is allowed. You may say there is a deny rule also. Why it is not working? I will tell you why it is not working. NACLs work in the order, like, there will be a rule number. Okay, there will be type of traffic, there is a protocol, there is a port range and the source. And at the end, you can allow or deny. Okay, lower the number, higher the precedence. Lower the number, higher the precedence. Similarly, also for outbound rule also, there is a same thing. You have rule number, type, traffic, allow or deny. So default NACL, everything is by default outbound, and inbound, everything is allowed. So right now with my subnet, which NACL is attached? On my subnet right now, default NACL is attached. The NACL that is attached is a default one. Let's create our own NACL, then see how it works. Then in the same example, I will explain you how NACL works also. Because without practical, it's a little difficult to explain. So let's go ahead and create a NACL. So what I will do, I will say create a NACL. I'll say my web NACL. Okay. For which VPC I want to create? I want to create for my lab VPC. Yes. I'll create a lab VPC. So I have right now, if I go to NACLs one more time, so you can see this is my web NACL. Yes. If I select this NACL, the NACL that we have created, right now it is not attached to any subnet. You can say subnet associated is 0, nothing. Okay, but if you see the inbound rule and outbound rule, inbound rule, all traffic, all protocol by default deny. Outbound rule, all traffic, all protocol by default deny. So your custom NACL by default, everything is deny. Okay, that is the difference. Default NACL, everything by default is allow. Custom NACL, everything by default is deny. That you need to remember. Sometimes somebody may ask you in an interview or maybe in your certification exam, but just remember. Now let's go ahead and attach this NACL to some subnet. So what I'll do, I'll click on subnet association. Okay, what I have done, I am at my NACL. I went to subnet association. From subnet association, I am going to edit subnet association. Edit. In editing, I will select the subnet public one. So here I am going to select the public subnet, this subnet to attach. I am attaching this subnet. Let's go and attach it. Click here, attach, save the rules, save the changes, done. Now inbound rule is block, outbound rule is block. Let's go to our EC2 instance and refresh our website. Let me copy this. If you refresh it, you will see that it will try and die. It is still trying. Let me open a new page because you can see if I type this, it is not allowing the traffic. Traffic will get blocked. What is happening? Why it is blocked? Actually, right now it was just few seconds it was working. So actually what is happening now, this NACL we have removed, the default NACL. Now we have attached a, which NACL? Our NACL. Which NACL? The NACL that we have created. Okay. What is the name of the NACL? My underscore web underscore NACL, something like this, right? But this NACL, my underscore, I'm just putting my underscore web because the name is quite huge. So let me also remove this route table, put it here. So because I want to show you how traffic flows. So now the traffic is coming like this. HTTP, dung, going to IGW, going to NACL block. Why block? Because right now the inbound rule says all traffic, all protocol is blocked, deny. So that is why if I am going to this particular page, still you can see it will try and it will die. Yeah, you can say This looks like some problem. I'm not able to reach to my website. Though my website is running, everything is gone. So how to allow the traffic? What you need to do is you need to go to your NACL, edit inbound rule, add a new rule. I'll say rule number 100. Custom TCP, I'll say HTTP, right? Because we want to allow HTTP. I'll say port number 80, traffic allow, save changes. Let's also change the inbound rule is there. Should be able to access my website? The answer is no. Still you won't able to access your website. Even if you refresh it, you will get the same error. Why? Because now what is happening, your traffic is now coming like this inbound allowed. Yes, inbound allowed is going to SG is already allowed, going to EC2. Yes, it is. When you're responding back, the outbound is still blocked. It is stopping here only. Your traffic is here. It's not reaching out, so you're not getting any response back. Okay, so now what is the next thing? Go to outbound, say edit outbound. Outbound, let's make everything allow, because this is little safer way if you want to allow everything. So generally what I do, add a rule. I'll say rule number 100. I'll say all traffic, all protocol, everything is allowed, and I'll say save changes. Now let me go to my website. Let me refresh it. Can you see that I got the response back? I got the response back. So what happens basically? Same thing. I press enter, traffic goes to like this, reaches to EC2, and I got a response back. Because at NACLs and security group both are allowing the traffic. Are you getting how NACLs work? One more thing that I want to tell you about NACLs rules. There are rules in the NACLs, inbound rule. Lower the number, higher the precedence. Okay, what is the meaning of it? Let me show you. Edit rule. I'll create one more rule. I'll say rule number 99. 99 is lower than 100. Yes, 99 is lower than 100. Custom TCP, I'll say HTTP. Instead of allow, I'll say deny and save changes. Well, how my inbound rule looks like? 99 says deny, 100 says allow. So you know how NACLs work? Let's say they have the rules, like, they have rule. Let's say this is a rule number 1. You can put any number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Generally we put in the multiple of 100, but you can put, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the rule. Rule number 1, rule number 2, rule number 3, rule number 4, rule number 5. All right. So how NACL will work? The traffic will come and check, let's say HTTP. It will check HTTP. If it is allow, it will allow here only. It even not going to check other rules. If it is deny, it will deny here only. It will not go and check other rules. Are you getting it? So that is what is happening here. We have denied on the rule number 90. Then we have to kind of click this particular thing. Like, let's go here. Excuse me. And refresh the page. You will see that it will die. I mean, let me refresh this page. You can say I'm not getting the response back, right? Look like some problem, still the problem. It will die, definitely die. It is still trying, but it will die. You can see even at refresh, I'm not getting the page. So that is what, I mean, rule number 1, the lower number rule is getting precedence. That is why my traffic is getting denied. Now let me make this 99, edit 99 to rule number 101 and save the changes. Now let's see the inbound rule. 100 says allow, 101 says deny. Okay, fine. Let's go and see our website. It's already up. Are you getting it? So that's the point. Let me summarize everything, and I think you are now making sense, like everything is making sense to you. So security group has only allow rule. Security group has no deny rule. That is what you need to, they are stateful. They have only allow rule. NACLs have allow and deny both the rules. NACLs are stateless. They have allow and they have deny both the rules. You can allow a rule, you can deny a rule. Security group, how they work? Security group going to evaluate all the rules and then take the action. It will read all the rules. How many rules now? It will basically going to kind of evaluation. Security group is going to evaluate all the rules Okay, and then it is going to see all the rules and then take the action. NACLs is going to work on the rule by rule, number by number, and the lower the number, higher the precedence. Can I remove this little here? Yeah. So NACLs rule, basically they allow or deny the rules, they lower number will get the higher priority. Default behavior of security group, deny all inbound. Default behavior of security group is also deny all inbound. NACLs is basically the default security group, like, you know, the default one I have shown you, like default NACLs. The default NACL of is allow. That we need to remember. Okay, sorry, I have copied wrong text. Let me ignore it. Yeah. NACLs allow all. Default NACL I have shown you, right? So security group basically protect your instance. NACL protects your subnet. What is the meaning of it? Let's say I have one more EC2 instance. So whatever is blocked at NACLs, it will be blocked for all these EC2 instances. They are lying inside the subnet. Okay, if main guard is not aligned, then it is the traffic, Amazon delivery is not going to happen in any flat of your apartment, right? Because it is blocked at the main gate. Irrespective it's your flat or other flat, it's blocked for everyone. So that is how it works. All right, so NACL's rules are evaluated in order. The first rule matching rule is directly applied there. So rule number and the priority are very, very important for NACLs. Make sure that what is the priority you are putting, what is the rule we are putting, all those things are very, very important. All right, with this I'll stop here. So today we learned about how traffic reaches to EC2, how security group control the access, how NACLs add the additional layer of protection. This is how AWS secure your public instances. In the next video, I'm going to discuss about about the instances, whatever we have discussed in the public subnet. What if the instance run in the private subnet? What will happen if an instance run in a private subnet? The instance don't have the public IP address, no direct access. So how we are going to connect those instances? That is the point number one. And that instance, let's say, requires some kind of a security patch that needs to be downloaded from internet. How that instance will connect to internet, because that's running on the private subnet. Okay, that is where we are going to discuss about NAT gateway. First thing we will solve in the next video is how to connect instance in the private subnet. Then from the private instance, how to connect to internet using NAT gateway to download something. Okay, so this is what I started with my discussion in cloud, AWS, Azure, Google, Oracle, IBM, whatever the cloud. The security is not just one layer. Okay, it is multiple layer that works together. Right now, with respect to security, we discuss about the NACLs and security group. Are the NACLs and security group are the only two things for security? No. There are few more services that we are going to learn, and everything will work together to provide the security. Okay, so in AWS or any cloud, security is not just one layer. It is in one service or something. It is basically multiple layers that they work together. All right, so thanks for watching. Have a great day. Please subscribe this channel if you're getting some value, and please contribute to my LinkedIn, the GitHub repository that I have share with you. If you have some content you want to be contributor, please let me know. I'm really looking for someone who is good here, and we can together build a very good content at GitHub. I'm looking for somebody. So please help me in that. Thank you so much. Have a great day.